So I've been meaning to make this video for a while now, and interesting development has been happening in the manga, which makes this the perfect time to make this video. What I'll be talking about today is how I think that Shigaraki will fail. Well, let's be honest, there's still a good chance that he won't fail, but I can guarantee that he'll be alone in this upcoming war. What I'm saying is that in this war, it won't simply be the heroes versus the villains. It'll be the heroes and the villains versus Shigaraki. So hello, this is just Editor me coming back from the future past into the present future or something. I just wanted to say this video was recorded a long time ago, hence the upcoming war I had just mentioned. If you've noticed, this upcoming war is kind of just the current war. So I'm a little late, but this video still holds up. But basically I'm going under the assumption that this war will take place in more than just the hospital. It will spread out around the city a bit, where the prisons are, for example. Let's just say at some point, all the villains locked up in jail suddenly get released. That's this timeline. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So let me go through each major villain in the series, explaining why they would rather side with the heroes rather than Shigaraki. Starting with our favorite anti-hero, Stain. So Stain, he doesn't like the League, the now called Liberation Front, and respects Deku as a hero. He'll probably help him over the Liberation Front. There's honestly not much else to say there. I'm sure that at first, with all the chaos, he'll be killing left and right, both heroes and villains, but then he and Deku will meet face to face and Deku will talk jutsu him into joining. But next up is the mob boss who needs a helping hand. It's Overhaul. Okay. So it's unclear how he feels towards the heroes, but he certainly doesn't like the Liberation Front after they, literally stole his arms. The heroes are currently trying to find a way to use Aries' power to restore Meteor's quirk, and they've recently said that they're about to start training her, so there's no reason why they wouldn't restore Overhaul's arms. Well, okay, let's be honest, there's plenty of reason not to, but if they're desperate, it is an option, and I feel like it could be a really dramatic scene. Aries has to restore the hands that tormented her for her entire life. That's rough. But next up are the partners in crime, Gentle and La Brava. So Gentle and Deku do have a mutual respect for each other after their battle. If Deku asks for help, I'm sure he'd be happy to comply. La Brava, however, does not like Deku, but would probably follow Gentle in whatever he does. Honestly, maybe just for development reasons, they would get La Brava to ask Deku to help, or something of the sort. But regardless, that's another +2 for the heroes. And originally, I'd only considered those 4 villains to join the heroes, and they would all fight against the Liberation Front. But a while back, I was thinking, what if the Liberation Front goes against Shigaraki himself? And that's proving to be true with what were teased in a recent chapter, but I'll get to that soon. For now, let's start with Destro. I don't think there's much to say about this one, much like Stain. Shigaraki literally walked up to his front door, beat him to a pulp, and stole everything he has. I think there's enough reason he'd backstab the Liberation Front. Okay, hello, it's Editor me again, and just wanted to say that the next person I talk about, Dabi, everything I say is kind of true. I'll keep in what I've said, but I just wanted to add one important detail that has recently been revealed. Much like Toga and Spinner, Dabi too was a massive Stain fanboy. Unlike the other two, however, this fact isn't what proves he'll switch to the hero side, but rather it proves that he'll stick with the villains even more, assuming Dabi is Toya anyway. Which would be the reason for his motivation for what I talk about in a minute. What I think might happen is a possible Stain versus Dabi fight in the future, and I might go more in depth in that in a video in the future. Anyway, back to my original point. Moving on to Dabi, I don't really think that he'll betray the Liberation Front, but he won't really help much. His goal in my eyes is to get to the Todorokis, because he's almost guaranteed to be a Todoroki at this point. I imagine in the big war, he'll kill Endeavor and Todoroki would kill him, and it'll be a very dramatic battle. Or at least that's what I'd like to think. Up next, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reject, Spinner. So, Spinner's an absolute Stain fanboy, so if Stain were to go against the Liberation Front, he would blindly follow. I mean, even far back as to Season 4, we see him question Shigaraki's ways. It's obvious he's more loyal to Stain than Shigaraki. Hello once again, Editor me if you couldn't tell. The next 2 people on the list would be Toga and Twice. I'm gonna keep this part in just because I still believe in everything that I've said, and the manga basically confirms it as well. The only reason why I pop in here is because, for obvious reasons, one of these characters didn't make it out alive. Just Wanted to clarify that just so people don't comment, but Twice is dead, he can't help the heroes. Yeah, he's dead, but if he were still alive, this is proof that he'd help. Up next we have the OTP, Toga and Twice. Now, I'm sticking these two together because I believe each is crucial for the other joining, but let's start with their individual reasons. Because Toga's a massive Stain fan, she would probably join the heroes because Stain did. Easy, simple. And Twice, with the development in a recent chapter, has been hinted that he'll join all on his own now that he's mentally stable again. And I'm starting to think that yes, they have their individual reasons, but I don't think either would join unless the other does. Twice certainly wouldn't leave Toga's side, and I'm not too sure if Stain is enough of a reason for her to switch. Maybe after Twice saved her life, she's now starting to get mutual feelings, so she also wouldn't want to leave Twice all alone. But if they both express that they want to join the heroes, I'm sure that the other would be happy to follow. Moving on to Mr. Compress, and admittedly this one is quite tricky. He's the most loyal member of the Liberation Front and has shown no evidence of betraying or backstabbing Shigaraki. However, it could be one of those situations where he's only being loyal just to take over, and the second he tries, Shigaraki will erase him from existence. Another possible idea I have is, because he's so loyal, he'll see how mentally sick Shigaraki has become and refuses to help him, which would then proceed to Shigaraki once again destroying every fiber of his being. Regardless, I have a gut feeling that Shigaraki is going to kill Mr. Compress. I'm not sure why. Moving on to the absolute beast Gigantomachia, I'm honestly clueless if he'll backstab Shigaraki or not. On one hand, he's extremely loyal to both One For All and now seemingly Shigaraki, but how far does that loyalty go? If Shigaraki proves weakness, he'll hit the road, but I have a feeling Shigaraki won't be showing much of that. I've recently had the idea that Gigantomachia is actually a Namu. With what we know about them, it's entirely possible. Click the little I card on the top to check out my video about it. And now finally, One For All. Despite every single hero and villain in the series possibly fighting Shigaraki, I still have no doubt in my mind that they'll lose. I could be power scaling Shigaraki a bit too high, but if he before the All For One transfer was able to destroy half a city and defeat an almost literal army with only a single quirk, I think with all the upgrades he'd be able to do literally whatever he wants. I mean, we've just recently learned that they're planning to attack all of Japan at once. With that in mind, I can quite confidently say that the only way for Shigaraki to lose is for All For One to fight alongside the heroes. The only issue with that is, alright, what is it again? Oh, right. No way in hell that's ever going to happen. That's like saying All Might would not only fight with the villains, but he'd also kill Deku. Much like Deku and All Might, there's not only a teacher-student aspect to their relationship, but also a father-son relationship too. No matter how much Shigaraki has failed All For One, he always encourages them to try and try again. Unless it's all one big scheme to get Shigaraki to have all this power, including One For All, and steal it away from him last minute so that he can have every quirk. But that's just me speculating with no actual evidence. Now, I was going to end this video here just talking about how it'll be Shigaraki all on his own, with a couple of exceptions, but I've thought about something recently and that got me thinking. One For All. We've been learning a lot about it, and there's been a lot happening with it, development from both Deku and Shigaraki. So I had an idea. Since Deku gets the quirks of every single user of One For All and Shigaraki is getting every single quirk, does that mean Deku therefore is getting every single quirk in existence, including All For One? Or could it be the past successors only and he'll get all the quirks after Shigaraki dies? Or is it that he only gets the quirks of the other One For All users they had naturally, aka not what Shigaraki is doing? So at the very least, could Deku get Decay? Or am I completely wrong on how all this is working? There's lots of questions here that need to be explained. Regardless, one thing that I think would be really cool to do is to give Deku and Shigaraki a psychic bond, much like Deku has with the other One For All users. Once Shigaraki pops in Deku's head, that would terrify him to his core, and for good reason too. But as I said, the only way for Shigaraki to fail is for All For One to fight him, but with Deku possibly getting every quirk, could that be enough? We'll have to wait and find out. In conclusion, pretty much no matter what the heroes and villains do, there won't be much they can do against the power of Shigaraki. Not unless Deku does acquire every single quirk and masters them in the short amount of time that he'd have. So the odds are still pretty slim. And I'm thinking about posting a video talking about what comes after this big war, what the next possible saga will have in store, but I haven't decided on the details yet. If you'd like to see more My Hero Academia content or general anime discussions, consider subscribing and liking the video. It'll let me know that you want more of this type of stuff. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.